All right, welcome back to Anime Savants, everyone. This week I am Chiquita.
Ooh, yeah. What am I this week? Uh, what's her name? This week I'm. Is her name Anika or no Antika? That's who it is.
Oh
From
wow.
our new big breasted overlord from Myoiga, the mayor of the city that they're.
Oh, yeah, she had big. Yeah, is she the first in that series? Actually,
Yep.
is yeah, she's the first big one. Yeah, she's the first
Very clearly,
big.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, because the bra you don't even see where the
It doesn't
bra
even make
comes
any sense.
together. It
It
just
don't
it's just
even
like
make sense.
spills over.
It doesn't even make sense.
Um, But yeah, okay. This week let's do some Tougen Anki since we're talking about big titties.
Oh my god.
Um,
They're doing a lot.
they're doing so much with, and you're exactly right when you were like, they're not even talking about the titties. They're not even talking about them.
It's
They're
not
just
even good.
there. They're
Yep.
just there. And then homegirl, she got undressed and into her like boxing suit or whatever, which just made her breasts even look bigger and that shit. And then started like boxing the motherfuckers and da, da, da. Honestly, I'm interested in like the fighting dynamic and stuff ish, kind of ish. Um, I don't know. I feel like
There's
we're not in any
something there, but
highlights. We're
it's
not
this
in
is
any
not.
highlights.
Yeah, like the power system. It's interesting. It's like blood versus bacteria powers, but they're kind of the same.
Yeah.
The both are come out of the bodies of the person using it. They just have maybe a slightly different visual look to them. I wouldn't be surprised if
Mm-hmm.
like part of the storyline is actually that they all kind of come from the same place, because that would
Oh,
be no, you know what I mean? Like,
well, what's
oh,
my
Oni
call
blood
it?
is.
Blade dude's dad is apparently a Momotaro. So it's just
Yeah, so
like,
like I wouldn't be surprised if like that's where the lore evolves, is that those two powers are kind of like related to each other in
mm-hmm.
some way. The last like 3 or 4 episodes I think have at least been a little bit more focused in on the actual conflict. It's not so much, I mean, they are still introducing a lot of the main cast, but at the very least, like, there's something happening that's outside of the view of like Shiki and like his group, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like he's actually kind of taking a back seat to basically everything else that's going on. Like Shiki's doing the stuff with May, which is very clearly about like him growing and learning and overcoming his own weaknesses. So that's a very early shonen protagonist
Or like
problem to have.
killing people.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's kind of been sidelined a little bit because of the stuff with Subakiri and Yomogi, the two, what do you
Mm.
call it, Momotaros, who are sort of the center of all this conflict. I do appreciate that they've done at least some work to make them feel powerful and dangerous. Like a lot of times you
Yeah.
get those first shonen bad guys and they're just paper cutouts for like the main characters to beat on, to kind of show off and do some wish fulfillment for the audience. But I mean, despite the fact that Tsubakiri hasn't actually killed anybody important yet in the plot, so I would say he doesn't really have any feats to really go along with the swag and like the
Yeah.
attitude. But they are presenting him as like a scary dude. He uses zombie powers that are, used with the
He does
bacteria. They brought
have
these.
a bad personality. So yeah,
Yeah,
that
he's
adds to the
got the
menacing
chimeras,
factor.
which they've introduced as being at least like somewhat threatening, even though Queen is basically like two-shotting him and she's a student. So, and we pretty much haven't seen anybody else go heads up. Like Jin, the guy with the mask, like he didn't. He's sort of like wandering around the hallways, hasn't really come into contact with anybody. And the one guy that they did take out, who I'm forgetting his name, the blood doctor, like he doesn't really have like he's not
Oh
offensively
yeah,
powered,
he's not all.
and we
He's
know that.
literally support. Yeah.
Right, and we know that like him getting taken down was a red herring, so it's sort of like, okay, we're gonna see him pop back up because he had like the other syringe of the shit. So right now, I look at the last few episodes as character development and exposition for the world. Oh right, I forgot like the episode before, like Naito kind of went up against Yomogi and Tsubakiri, but like that
Yeah,
wasn't really a fight because Yomogi kind of surprised him and put him in a box. They literally fridged him for, the rest of
bomb in the
whatever this is.
box.
But
Yeah,
I will say they did come in slaughtering all the extras, which is the bare minimum you kind of got to do to put some stakes. Like we didn't learn anybody's name. Like you literally like have a scene where it's like a guy who's drawn like he's going to die, and then the bad guy show up and he gets taken
yeah.
out. So I'm like, I don't know if I care as much about the conflict, but I do get to see Queena completely undress and have like what is she? Is she like a reverse yandere where it's like she gets obsessed with
Weaklings.
overly taking care of somebody, and that's like the key
She's
to
like a
her.
mommy. She's like a mommy prototype. I don't know what
Yeah,
that
like it is
that
a
one
it is a
is.
it is a subgenre of yandere. Whatever she is that,
Yeah.
which is neat because they could have been a little bit more on the nose. But her kind of flipping out. What's the guy's name who's like
I
who she
have
keeps shoving in the box?
no
He's funny.
idea.
He's funny. He's like a slightly less annoying what's his name from Demon Slayer that everybody
Oh,
likes.
oh my God. Zenitsu.
Zenitsu. Yeah, he's like a slightly less annoying Zenitsu because he's not screaming all the time. So far he's been utterly useless. We all know that like his ability is
He's
going to
gonna
be
be oh
some
yeah.
OP crazy shit, but they're
It's gonna
they're
rarely activate or some shit like that. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Right. And we've only
So
seen two of the students actually do anything. So, or three, I guess three technically, because
oh
Homare is the one who has like
homegirl.
the big beast thing inside that she can summon
Yeah.
the Titan, the fucking the fucking armor
The
Titan that
literal
she
Titan. Yeah.
yeah, that she can
And
summon.
she's
And I went
benched
back and
right
I looked
now.
at a lot of like the character design for the anime, and my God, all these women are thick. They're thick, thick. It's a
All of
design
them.
thing. It's
All
like
of
a,
them
it's like a
are.
it's like a character aesthetic thing, but they're all thick. Like they all got some big ass thighs. Like well, this is the thigh supremacy anime. Like no cap, just straight up for everybody. It's nuts. It's nuts.
And nobody's talking
Yomogi
about
don't
it.
even make no damn sense. I need to see
They're
some.
going through the world
Yeah, I
with
need some big
just
girls doing this cosplay
I
at this.
know
I need
Yumogi
it.
has back pain. She has to
I
have back pain.
brother.
Or the bacteria is like correct keeping her
She doesn't
good.
have
Like
a waist.
she got the
Yeah.
bacteria lifting them up for her
She
as
don't
she
she doesn't even have
walks.
a waist. Her breasts are huge. Now, honestly, that's a character design I have not seen. I can't even like place her like that design of a character on anybody else. And frankly, it looks like a lot of the older women I grew up with, like in our community.
Honestly, she kind of is giving like an exaggerated Arankar. Like an
Yeah, yes.
exaggerate like an
Very
Arankar with a
exaggerated.
yeah, like a very exaggerated Arankar like feminine body, but the opposite of BBL.
Yeah,
Like it's
exactly.
like a well, yeah, BBL and big boob, same thing. I don't same thing,
Yeah,
but
but she a big girl. Like there's no question. There's some shots where there was like 3/4 aerial, and like her chest is so large and her torso is so small and her hips are so wide that you literally just seeing down like two boobs and like the legs, and then like that's it. I'm like that's a as much as it's directly fan service, like just whatever. It's a fan service for the kind of women I like. All right, I'm not looking for no goddamn stick figures, or as we're gonna talk, we led with in my Nogra, the Antica like elf with huge tits. Like that's just sticking the bare tits on a skinny girl. Yomogi's more what I'm interested in. All right.
she's thick. She's thick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Truly.
And so is
So
Queen. Um, even the nurses, the random
yeah,
little nurses,
fair.
they
Yes.
were they
They got
had
body. They got
yeah.
actual body. Body that
They had
like
bodies.
in
Yeah.
that in that in that island nation that developed this, that is not a common thing to see or a common thing to hold up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
So I'm with it.
This is the
But
Arthur's interests. Those
yeah,
are his interests. Those are
exactly.
his interests.
That 100%. I'm with it.
But yeah,
But
I
yeah,
I agree. I think it's building up and then it'll pop up like all the they've set all the older characters are like the senpais up for like their last minute saves
Yeah.
for like all the fight shit like that. So I'm just like, all right, we'll see. We'll get that. I think this one is this one 24? I think this is 24.
Yeah, it's 24.
It's 24. So they have
They're
time to
taking their
do
time. Yeah.
they so it's like it's whatever. But yeah, I mean it's nothing new or wild or crazy. I kind of wish it had kept going with the forest exercise. But this is a nice interruption. Like honestly, I guess the flow works well this way too, because what do they say? It's like, you need to shift the audience's attention like every 10 seconds or so. And maybe the
Yeah.
author was like, oh, I don't want this fucking like training, get to know everybody's powers thing to drag out in this arc only. So I'm just gonna pull them somewhere else and you'll continue to learn about their powers in a different setting. Um, but
It's a
yeah.
very traditional, like almost like old school shonen structure for the
Yeah.
show. Like very, very traditional. Which I appreciate now because it's like so you sometimes you go out and like you have a choice. You could get like, a $30 hamburger that's got like 50,000 things on it and the highest quality beef and all this other shit, but like sometimes you just want the normal, like the $8 smash burger patty. Just make sure the bread is good. Make sure the cheese is some good old American cheese. Get that shit on there, crisp it up. Like we don't need the extra, and that's kind
Yeah.
of what I feel when I watch the show. It's a very traditional shonen watching experience, and I enjoy that.
Okay. Well then going on to the other big titties in Manogra. Um, Pepe is my nigga. I love that little man. I love a little homie. Hey, Pepe
He,
this.
he just wants
Hey.
fun. He just wants friends. That's all he
He literally
wants.
wants friends, like ruined the talks with Granny, like
Yep.
just went in there and slaughtered it. And then the next episode or whatever after that, where the twins are like doing I guess recon, but like not really recon. Like they really are just trying to get to know the
They're just on
world.
a day trip.
Yeah, they just on a day trip. And that whole thing where they like slowly, which the show's been doing the whole time, they've been slowly dropping world building throughout everything. It's not just like lore dump. Well, unless they do like the roundtable thing, then it's like, okay, we probably about to
Hmm.
get we about to get a lot of shit. But other than that, it's like, okay, we're learning this, we're learning that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I would say my favorite part about the episode was Big Titty Woman, like going between disbelief and acceptance when the slaughtering was happening. And like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is honestly valid as fuck. Because how do you, like, can you respond the way you want to? Because if you do, they're gonna be like, bitch, you got a problem. Like it was very realistic. I was like, yes, I can see how she's having problems. But it also was the first time we got to see like the stark personalities of the twins, where I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that now I know your character archetype, like the quieter sister, or I'm not gonna say the smarter sister, but like the sister that does the majority of the talking, the cursed
Yeah.
sister, or the one that has a scar compared to the other one that's a little bit more like extroverted and like lively or whatever. Like the stark difference was like clear, but like their roles in their like twin dynamic became even more clear with that. And she like mouthing off while they were like stripping their fucking skin off and like, oh, how dare you talk about it? Well, number one, number two, number three. Da-da-da. I was like, okay, okay, all right, cool, cool. I want to know more. I mean, and that's just me though. I want to know more about the magic because they talked about like pioneering the other magics that the world hadn't known yet. So I want to know more about that. And they talked about changing the dragon vein crystals mana to like specific things. And I'm just like, they keep talking about, oh, we're evil alive, but we want peace. But that's not where this is going. Like, there's no way they're gonna have to fight for the peace.
It's very interesting because there are people who have also clocked that it's like diet overlord, and one of the nice things about the kind of storytelling that happened in Overlord was that you basically had these three perspectives at all, like the story would bounce between. If you were looking at it, if something was happening and it was from the perspective of like Ainz and his people on the inside, it was all very jovial and a little bit silly and playful. I would say like this added both the way all the characters interact with each other and also the way the world is even presented through their eyes. When you would
Mm-hmm.
flip to something that's happening in the world that does not involve Ainz or any of his people or any of or like the Nazarick or whatever. It was I would say a little bit more grounded fantasy, but it didn't necessarily have that lighthearted or playful tone because a lot of that stuff was like the politics and like people backstabbing each other and doing exposition for the audience about the magic and the world and everything else. And then whenever the two would come into contact with each other, the perspective of Ainz is like, oh, I'm going on an adventure. The perspective of the people witnessing what they were doing was, this is the most horrifying thing I've ever witnessed in my life. And then you would see what they're doing, and they're doing the most disrespectful fucking shit that you ever could, like, just like
Yeah.
when like annihilating whole armies with like demons that are just
The
eating
lizard
people and
men, all that
right, or
shit.
like his
Yeah.
general showing up and like just eviscerating the strongest people in a nation and like bathing in their blood and like doing rituals, stealing bodies, corrupting whole villages, turning people into zombies, doing just anything horrific that you could do. When they came together, the tone would always be of that horror, right? Like horror at seeing the true face of these like absolutely overpowered evil things. I think that Minoga also operates basically on the same trinity because whenever
Mm-hmm.
it's stuff happening with like the carrier and the Dark Lord and everything else, it's very
Yeah.
lighthearted. It's all jokes. It's all like because we see him outside, as he sees himself and as he is,
In the
our
human-esque
main character
form.
as a very meek, socially awkward, young person who just is struggling to like make connections with people and is playing the game as it playing the world as if it's a game, but is not necessarily like filled with evil intentions that he just wants to go and slaughter and conquer and do whatever else. Then when you have characters interact with him, at least when they're still inside of that, like the his own civilization that he's building up, it's very lighthearted. It's very easygoing. There's not a lot of like screaming or yelling or fear or anything else. Everyone's kind of just like getting along and they're just trying to figure things out and do whatever. And then the moment they start interacting with like the rest of the world, it turns into a horror show. Like, yes, there's a lot of smiling and nodding and everything else, but number one, everybody they run into is either afraid of them initially or like has reason to suspect that they might be something wrong, or they're trying to fucking kill them. And
Yeah.
then when the conflicts happen, it's like, oh, so this is actually the worst thing to ever I've ever seen. Like, you run into a girl on the outskirts of a forest, and they tell you, "Don't come in here, don't come in here," and then you cross the line, and she turns into a fucking tentacle nightmare that like kills all of your friends and family, steals their memories, is taunting you, is threatening you're gonna go fucking salt the earth of your entire city and civilization and eat the bodies of your children and shit, and then like they're all dead. She's like, "Oh, just kidding," it's whatever, cool. And we got that in I guess it's episode 7 or 8 a little bit where it just wasn't the main character and his direct people, it was the two girls and the medics in the city.
Yeah.
And like everything's cool and lighthearted and people are kind of a little bit wary here there, and then it fucking turns into nightmare fuel at the end, and it's like, okay, that's what they're doing. That's the cadence of the show.
Yeah.
Which is fun. That's
Yeah.
always fun.
Truly is died overlooked. Yeah. But
But
with
absolutely
that,
nightmare fuel.
I'm interested to see where it's gonna go because we know we got the Saint in the North and we got the evil Lolly, and she hasn't shown back up after they gave her little end of episode smile thing. So I'm like, I'm interested to see how they're all gonna interact and get together and summon the damn hero already. Oh, they stay talking about the damn hero. I'm
Yeah,
like,
they've
where the
been
fuck
talking.
is
I feel
she?
like that's gonna go the same way. Like, didn't they say it's like the queen of the insects or some other shit? They're trying
Yeah,
to. I'm like, this is not
yeah,
gonna be like a pleasant thing. The way he described this character seemed horrible. Like they just poop. It just start shitting out minions and doing stuff.
yeah.
Like I feel like that's gonna be a nightmare for somebody.
But
So
yeah, so yeah, that's that one. Oh, water magician. I mean, I guess it's similar, same thing. After this week, we're gonna have a shit ton to say, probably because he's gonna flex on the fucking the demon prince or the devil, yeah, demon prince or devil prince or whatever it was. I
mm-hmm.
did like the episode. They once again did what the show did previously with the title board is they gave the side characters time to do things. And this time they did not. The niggas died. Like they were getting wiped out.
Yep.
Wiped out. And Abel literally was like, it's probably over for me. Like, it's probably done for. And then, Rio makes his like, actually, that was cool. That's fucking entrance. And the light coming down, the water pellets just in the air. Like, what you struggling with this nigga? Oh my God. I got it. And then he did the water jet. And my whole thing is I'm already a little bit pissed because his main critic, that bitch is passed out. So he's gonna do all these fucking feats,
and she ain't gonna see shit.
And she ain't gonna see shit, and she's still like, well, everybody's gonna be like, no, he's insane, and she's like, but I have to say that. Blah, blah, blah. Like when he did the water jet and took the ones out behind homeboy, I was like, yeah, y'all see that? Did y'all see that? Like, did you see that? Like,
yeah,
he is the real deal. But we're gonna see him actually do like the stunts and shows and stuff like that. But they did do a lot of like droplets of like world building with like them being on the 40th floor. Like, so it's still the same dungeon. Also, didn't even know nobody had never been past the 38th floor. That hadn't been brought up before. I appreciated that the side character that was put there to do the one thing that they wanted her to do, she did it immediately. She said, "This shit is going to shit. I gotta go find Rio."
She dipped instantly.
Yeah, she.
Like, hello, or I'm gone.
Yeah, didn't even say anything. She's just gone. And then they didn't draw it out. There was no montage of her running around the city, bursting in doors, crying, looking da. Rio just showed up. Yeah. And I was like, okay, not mad at that. Not even mad at that at all. What else was there? I liked how they were talking about the spell, like the feel of the 40th floor, and talking about how it felt like they were inside like that like high class spell that's like a barrier for like holy like stuff, but it's clearly devils or like dark magic can use that stuff also, or that's what I was getting from the inference. And then also the fact that all those texts are all like objective, like they're all opinions. They're all like people guessing on these things because these things are not regular. And so they're talking about, oh, the devils are immune to magic, and then the magic works on them. And it's just like, okay, so basically the established order is not solid. Like all of this stuff is not solid. But Rio disproved all of that the moment he arrived, and they were like, no, you can't do magic this way, you can't do magic that way, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just nice to have it like reaffirmed like in other ways throughout the show, not just being like Rio's a monster, like, oh my God. It's like, no, a lot of these things that we believe in, it's not that they're not true, it's just that we probably have misheard, or someone like misinterpreted what they saw or what someone like said in the first place. So I enjoyed all that stuff about the episode, like the lead up to Rio, and now we about to get him. He about to be disrespectful. Yeah, I know he is.
I suspect, and I'm saying this, if this doesn't happen, it's not a knock on the show, because sometimes it's a way of storytelling that sometimes bores the shit out of me, but it's also like, it's just good storytelling. My expectation is that next episode we're going to start with a flashback, because we need to establish what happened between when the girl ran out and how Rio showed up.
Because he was in the fucking library. Yeah.
He was in the library. He was talking to the elf, the other big titty elf chick. Because that's, by the way, all these isekai reincarnated.
She got more than the average girl in the show.
They're all just a pathway for an audience insert to have sex with a big titty elf woman. So we got it. We have ours in Water Magician. But ideally, the correct thing to do is to fill in the gap before we then get the resolution of the fight. Even though at this point, I kind of just want to see him kick some ass and then just like tell me about it later. Like I don't.
Oh my God. Actually, okay. Well, quick side note. Because we talked so much about titties. And I went to Anime NYC this week, and I saw a lot of titties. I saw a lot of fucking anime titties. And then I saw a video of a guy asking his dorm mate if the guy was okay with his pillow. and it was one of them pillows, and I
Oh
was like,
no.
nigga,
Oh
nigga,
god.
some things just aren't meant for dual. So some things are meant for when you have your own space, your own apartment, your own thing. And I was just walking around and I was passing those booths because I was looking for my gunpla, which I found.
Oh god.
And niggas was lined up, buying those body pillow covers. So I'm just like, this is a regular thing. Like, this is why they're in everything. Cause you niggas
I
are
mean, it can't be stopped.
shelling.
I think we're past the seal was broken a long time ago, and now we just have to adjust to the reality that we're in. You know, that's just what it is. Because you know,
This,
deep in my heart, I don't want to yuck anybody else's yum. If you want to get down with the body pillow or whatever you want to get down with, as long as it don't hurt nobody, like it's fine. It's totally fine. However, some of y'all be flagrant, okay? Like, you can't. It's not enough that you can that we're cool with what you're doing. You want to drag us into your mess, right?
and then we
That's
all
the
get
only.
labeled. We all get
Right.
labeled
Allow
as
us some distinction, please. I will fight for your right to have that body pillow over there. Okay.
um. I will fight for your right to have certain body pillows. I'm not fighting for all the motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting
We
for
can go
all the
down that road
motherfuckers because
too.
you niggas took that way too
Most
far. That
most of
yeah,
the body pillows, not all of
most
them.
of the yeah. I'll fight like what's gonna call it like the mayor, the mayor, the alpha blah because they are young women
Yes.
in there like da da da. Yeah, take your pillow,
If you
nigga. I
want to
don't
tell me, if
care.
you want to swear up and down that she's a 300-year-old vampire, that's the line I'll give you. I'll give you that line. Okay?
Yeah,
We know what it looks like, but if that's the line you want to hold, fine. All right. I'm
yeah.
not fighting about this as a waste of everybody's time. But some of y'all, some of y'all,
But yeah, they
but
weren't there, man. But yeah, that was just a sidetrack.
I
But
digress.
yeah.
I digress. Saw like relative to this, I saw an interesting video. I think Mother's Basement put it out either today or yesterday,
Oh,
looking at sort of like some golden rules for like how to suss out absolute garbage isekai
Gooners.
stuff
Oh,
from something that's probably worth your time. And actually, I agree with the you know the core, which is basically if the the isekai cliches don't relate to anything important for understanding a character and telling the actual story, then it's you're probably in for some garbage, right? So, i.e., if the past of the character in the real world that we don't get to necessarily see doesn't have a material impact on anything else that's happening. Like it's not even presented as the starting point from which the character is going to learn and
mm,
grow, and there's no returning to it in order for the audience to kind of like understand you know who that person is
yeah,
and maybe how they're going to engage with this new world because that's the whole point of isekai. Isekai is a genre that is just a quick setup to provide a story about a character learning about a new place and growing as a result of the clash between who they were and the you know the rules of the world they go into. That's all it really is. And a lot of times you could just take the isekai part out, and if the story doesn't really materially change, then probably it was a waste of time to begin with. My Nogra and like some of these other shows, I think the Water Magician right now do in fact do the bare minimum to explain why it's important for us to know that that character came from another world. Right
yeah,
now, so far, the only real way it's impacted things is that it's how Rio interprets magic because he has concepts
yeah,
of like of advanced modern physics from our world that he's bringing along, and so far that's the only major impact of the isekai part. Because honestly, if you took that out and just came up with another explanation for like why he under maybe he was spirited off to that place and taught magic by you know a
his
god that was
grandpa.
on or like even some supernatural being that was on its way out because we saw that in Faraway Paladin. Like that's really
Mm-mm.
the core of that character. Yes, it is technically an isekai, right? Like technically that's what that show is. But if you took that away, the story that you get the first 3 episodes there is like, oh, the main character is being taught by these supernatural beings that all have crazy powers and are connected to the core mystery and mythos of the world. So therefore, when character goes out, brand fresh and new, we've actually learned a whole lot about his character arc, even in the first 3 episodes, to make all that stuff very relevant.
Yeah.
Water Magician has done a little bit of that. But what I would like, and that's part of the flashback stuff, whenever we see Rio doing things like enjoying studying in the library, to me, those are opportunities to introduce the character that he was before getting to this world more. Or when he's like researching new magic and everything else, at least that's kind of leaning on some stuff that we know about that character. That
Hmm.
said, if we get to next week's episode and it's just like bing bang boom, we go kill the demon. You give us like 3 minutes of like, oh, the girl ran into the library. Someone said you got to come running, and like maybe some explanation as to how he got all the way down to the fucking 38th
Yeah.
floor. That's probably enough. I just hope they do a little bit more than that, even if it would kind of delay my gratification of just like watching him own that demon.
Yeah.
I do want to get your opinion about how you feel so far the world building and the lore has been, because I really liked the fact that they made a big deal about the idea of like things coming from the 38th floor and how that
Hmm.
being like a cutoff, and then that they may be at the
So,
40th. Like I think that's really interesting.
well, even outside of that dungeon, the fact that like the royal magicians or the research crew, they're talking about the teleportation magic being present in other dungeons.
Yes, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and Abel's party member, like she used to be a part of like the main church in the capital, so she knows a whole bunch about like holy magic and all that kind of stuff. And she's talked a lot these last few episodes actually. But I think the guy is her mentor, so they have that back and forth with each other. But I guess like I know it's eventually gonna go beyond this, and my feeling for that, or like my inkling for that, is because of the interaction with those knights and that like random girl on the street and the guy, and then the captain of the other thing came up and like flaunted his nobility status and then killed
yeah,
them
yep.
later. And I was like, this is setting up for things that go beyond the town. Like
Oh, I
that's
love that. Yeah, that was from the from last week's episode. I was
yeah,
very interested in that because
yeah,
because I'm like, oh, okay, there's other shit moving, and I
yeah.
like the fact that Rio is completely oblivious to like what's
Doesn't
going on, but
not a
even
part of
he
it at
knows
all.
that there's some shit going down. The stuff with the eclipse and the Akuma and like but
Yeah.
and he's like keeping his mouth shut about that in it, and I'm curious as to if they'll explain maybe like why he's playing it so close to the vest, because it seemed like when he had that first fight and then it ended, he just was like, oh, bet there's shit that could like fuck me up, so I gotta like get rolling on getting stronger. But he didn't connect it to like, oh, I need to go talk to anyone about it. And then in this episode we
Well, I
see
kind of
him.
feel like he doesn't think anyone can handle it other than
It may,
he
yeah, it
himself.
may be that, and but in this episode, he's now asking questions about. Remember, because the elf chick was like, "Oh, how'd you figure out that there was a connection potentially between the eclipse,
Yeah.
right?" And
Yeah.
it's like I'd be curious to just know a little bit more about why he decided not to raise that as like a threat to anybody else, especially given that we now know that like Abel, we're power scaling. Like the last like few episodes have been all power scaling episodes. Abel now scales up to a demon prince, or like right below, right? Because
Yeah.
effectively he loses that fight. So we know that the strongest adventure we've seen is Abel and the other like leader of the other
The other
guild.
leader.
They
Yeah.
are put as if they're on par with one another. That was the implication from 2 episodes ago when they take down the Goblin General. Abel is weaker than a demon prince. We found out there's 4 demon princes at any given time, and then there's a level above that. That's like the whatever. So now we've gotten some scaling to kind of figure out, and we know Rio's probably about to handle business. So he's stronger than a demon prince, and then the chick he fought was equal to, or sort of kind of equal to him, or at least it seemed
Yeah.
there was some parity there. So Akuma are like somewhere, at a
Yeah.
threat level above a demon prince or maybe below the demon king, whatever. So that's good. This is good stuff. It's good to do this so that we have some like context for feats that happen later. And also since we have so much time with all these other characters, that's
Yeah.
also good because when they do something, now we can put it in context of how meaningful this is. Like, I want to know what's the power of these other nations. There's at least two empires that are out there, one
Yeah,
empire and a kingdom. We've got these the research, the Magic Research Institute. They got some people. They clearly have some ability, because like it wasn't like they went down with one person. They went down with a lot of folks. So
yeah,
is
they
the
went out.
scale of what we could possibly get out of this story something a lot bigger than what we've seen so far? And what we've seen so far is actually pretty well developed. Like the guild kind of exists in its own space. Like they didn't interact with Rio at all. He was like, "Yo, I gotta call the local lord, get that shit in there." That's clearly not enough for what they're dealing
Yeah.
with. So I like this. I like that they're stacking a lot of the lore, and we haven't even got out of the starter town yet.
And that's my
So
thing.
right,
We've gotten so much, and I don't think the story is staying in this town. Like
I would hope
it's
not.
they've introduced so many elements from outside of the town, and they keep talking about the other dungeons. I'm like, and then this is honestly a great. This is good to me in my mind for Rio's character, because Rio is gonna go there. He's gonna do his feat. He's gonna be like, "Is this it? Are the other dungeons harder? Let me go check them out. Actually, let me go. I'm gonna go dungeon diving all around the world. I'm gonna go on an adventure and figure this
Yeah,
shit out and get
we got a
stronger
little bit of that. We
simultaneously."
got like a teeny weeny. Remember they ran to the behemoth, and he was like, "Oh, bet I that one's gonna
Yeah,
eat my shit up." But
yeah.
like again, like these are things that if they wind up mattering later, I will be very pleased. And it seems like the type of storytelling, because this is the same. It's the same. It's Don Machi's author, right?
Is it?
Is
Is
it?
this
Am I
Dabachi's Arthur?
misre- Am I
Oh,
misremembering this?
oh, I didn't know that. If it is,
I
that's
think
amazing.
so.
Because I know
We'll
Wistoria
do a
is Don
live check.
Machi. I know Wistoria is Don Machi's Arthur. I
Maybe it's
know that.
Wistoria I'm thinking of. Uh
Because Wistoria is also dungeon focused esque stuff. Where the
oh
hell
no,
are
it's
you?
not.
On this?
You're right. It is Wistoria. But either way,
Oh,
like
okay.
I got a lot of Don Machi out of this episode and the last couple episodes
Mm,
because of the effort put into developing the dungeons as a
yes.
interesting place.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting now. Now there's sort of like, because we don't believe it or not, like even though all of the storytelling and the crises that have happened in the last 5 episodes have revolved around the dungeon, up until now we actually haven't spent a lot of time really engaging with it. Like the Rio kind of like bounces off of it. They go to like the first level and they come out, and he's not really focused on it. It's not his interest. He didn't say, "I want to be an adventurer who clears the dungeon." Like he didn't do any of that shit. He was just sort of like, "Oh, it's here. Let me play around here. Oh, it's boring now. I'm gonna go do something else." And like that
I'm
was
gonna go
kind of
learn
his
alchemy.
right. And so he kind of, but now that we're sinking some like world building and power scaling and everything else into the dungeon in the last few episodes, where like where do the monster breaks come from, or the tidal bores come from, and
Are these
what is
devils related
below?
to the Akuma? Like,
Yeah, and what does it mean to go down all these levels? And like, I wonder if the way out is that like they kill the demon prince or wherever this
and the
area
dungeon
they're in.
disappears.
Yeah, if it like disappears and like forces them out of the the town and into the world,
And
I
then
would
it,
like that.
well, that would be great, but then it also ruins the town.
Yeah,
Like,
right. It could also
because that
fuck the
is,
town up. Yeah, I agree with
yeah.
that. And this whole
Um,
thing going on with like, what is the other guild leaders? Why is he like straight up just killing people? Like, what's going on there? Like, I want to know. You got me.
and then like the political intrigue, because the politics behind him killing those guys, and then also one of the mage researcher guy going down there and only thinking about what promotion he could get,
Yep,
like
exactly.
not.
You knew that shit was going left on him because he was just thinking about the wrong shit.
You would think about, I'm just like, this is not gonna go well for you, but then also this is what is awaiting Rio out there, like as he gets higher, as he gets more access to people, because the more people know about him and the crazier stronger he is. And then especially like if the fire mates that apparently is on his level or similar level in the empire, that's gonna be a whole fucking thing. Of course it is. But of course this country is gonna want someone like on a royal level or like in service to them in some way to deal with that. Kind of just like, you have your chess pieces here, I got my chess pieces here, and these are the same strengths. They can move the exact same way. And so I'm guesstimating all this stuff, but the show is giving me so many crumbs and so many things. It's like this has nothing to do with him yet, but it could,
Mm-hmm.
and it will.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're only getting 12 episodes. which I'm like, this needs to be 24. What the fuck is this? Let me see.
I think it
Uh,
is.
is it 24?
Is it 24 or 20?
Let me
Uh,
see. It
we're
says
doing live
episodes
research here,
unknown.
folks.
It says episodes unknown. So hey, we might be getting that would make the pacing more. I mean, not that I don't like the pacing already, but that would make the pacing this makes more sense because
Yeah.
there are things that I do still have a lot of questions about and we don't have the answers for. So, but yeah, clearly we like Water Magician because we talk about that. I think the longest every fucking week. Um, uh, what else is there? Mango, we already did Mangora. Oh,
Yep.
Gachiakuta. That was cool as fuck.
It was.
I loved all of that. I loved all of that. I like Homeboy's the villain because the other two were dealt with easily. I liked his powers. I liked the way that he interacted with his powers. I like the fact that the battles are not just like straight up like feats of strength. Like he
Hmm.
observed Rio and observed the fucking thing and was like, "Oh, so if I don't have any ill intent, I can get through."
Yep.
Period. I have something for that. I actually can do that. And then you had staff guy like looking in from afar, observing the battle as well, noticing what he can do, like thinking about the timing, like, oh, it's been this much amount of time, like I'm losing I'm regaining like these facilities, da da da. And then for the very end, for those two to fucking team up to use the rejection powers to like steer him for
Yeah.
like to land the hits. I was like, this is this is this is cool. This is
Yeah,
cool.
Zonka had a surprise moment jumping back into the fight because I figured it would be like Rudo overcoming, but it's like now they had a 2v1, which is we talked about power scaling. That's good for a character like Jabber because he could be introduced as a kind of a throwaway first real villain, but no, you have to have two of your main characters go up and they still don't win.
And they don't
Ultimately, they
win.
don't.
And
They
he literally was about to go 1v5.
Yeah,
Like,
he's like, listen, I don't want to do this, but like if it's getting smoky in here, I guess I'm setting this shit up. Let's go.
yeah.
And so that was that was pretty cool. And then we got like a flash reveal of a new character that's got little like Mario pipe superpowers to get the fuck out of there.
Which and it also highlights how even the cleaners don't know everything.
Oh yeah, they
Because
definitely don't know.
they were like, "What the fuck? This? How did she do that? What is that?" Da da da. I was like, "Oh, okay." So they are all giver, which I mean, the show's not that like we're not that far into the show, so like the range and the spectrum of giver powers are we haven't gotten a full glimpse of what it could truly be yet.
Yeah, they're
That's what
not
that
all
gave me.
linear at
Oh
all. I mean,
yeah,
we kind of they teased that the when Rudo activates like that charm that like okay, we get it. Like his through him we're going to see a lot of interesting powers expressed over the
yes,
course of it. We're gonna see all that. But the going from Jabber, which is like, oh, I got claws and I'm strong. Well, also it's like Venom. Also, I can use it in interesting ways to like, not quite heal myself, but also power me up when I need to. But also like I've developed resistances to my own shit, which means there's time limits on things, everything. So all this is like adding structure, and then we start to get the weird and wacky stuff. So having like a teleporting character is very similar to in My Hero when they introduce who's the character that
oh
can
the
teleport
shadow
Nova with.
dude,
Yeah, right, like
yeah.
right, these are like a very important tools for your shonen storytelling where you can like blip characters in and out of places. You don't necessarily have to explain how they got there, how they got away. Because I was thinking like the moment the other cleaner showed up, I was like, oh, bet like there's no way out of this for that Jabber character except for someone to show up who is much stronger than everybody else. In which case, you kind of have like your it's good for its scene making, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like if you had someone who was that strong in the first place, why the fuck did you do it? Send the weakling or whatever. But
Yeah,
no, we got a utility character that now in the future, if a bad guy's gonna just show up somewhere,
they can pop
there's
up.
your ready-made explanation as to
But
like
then we
why it
also
happened.
don't know the rules
We don't know the
for
rules, right?
that for that
Right.
that power. So
And we kind of implied that they're
yeah.
physically strong too, because when she
Oh,
was
that
holding
grip.
him and he was like resisting, it was like,
Yeah.
ah, nah, bro. Nah, we're not doing
Yeah.
that. Which is cool. And they've set up a bigger bad guy for over the last couple
For
episodes
the
that Jabber's
future.
afraid of. So that's somebody who is now whatever. Rudo technically lost, which is good. You need your main character to, especially in the beginning, to suffer
Mm.
a lot of like failure and have something to get over. The Gris character was not long for this world. We all knew that the moment when he was, but we knew that when he was talking about how
The
much
death
when he was at
flags.
the bar and he was talking to them, death flags were flying
The
left and
bitches were
right.
flying
Yeah,
everywhere. Yeah.
but yeah, so that but Rudo had to go through that with him. We kind of like ended pretty abruptly, so it's not we're not like 100% sure he's dead, but he's dead. That man dead.
That's
He
what
dead.
I was confused about. I was like, wait a second, did he die? Because he still I thought when Rudo walked over, that nigga was gone already. But then
That's
he
what I
was
figured, because
mouthing
then
the
they'll be like, oh, the charm
words.
broke because he died. And then that would
Yeah.
maybe like there's some like the person whose item he's using might have to be alive. But that doesn't actually make sense, because we saw in the second episode, that episode when he was
Hmm.
like just picking up random shit
And
and
they
like
was able to
empowering it. It didn't
manifest.
matter. Like it
Yeah.
was just right. That did not matter. So that puts a kibosh on like that theory about how his powers work. And I've not read further in the manga to really like dig into that. So
Okay.
I don't know the answer.
But yeah, that's fun. I'm enjoying it. Um, unfortunate we didn't get to see Homegirl with the scissors go at Jabber, but you know, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be plenty of fights in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Clevatess, fucking awesome, fucking just being like, the bugs are made of water, like they're made of a decent amount of water. And what is your shit called? The stream splitter. Split
Yep.
all these niggas, just like chain
Yep.
reaction, get everybody together. The one thing that I am surprised about though, well, no, actually, so we were talking about like a lot about like power scaling. This power scaled the shit out those wizards because
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, I thought y'all were like way bigger menaces or whatever, and then all of this shit happens, and then that crystal that's embedded in his like in
It's
his
shut. Yeah.
chest, it cracked, and I'm like,
Yep.
okay, so here we go because we were
There's
talking about a few
limits.
episodes. Yeah, there are limits, and also we were talking about a few, and he's the strongest wizard in the thing. And then also they dropped that big ass fucking bomb at the fucking end of the episode where I was like, oh nigga, now that explains everything. I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense. But the way that they were talking about the demon children and then like human children getting kidnapped and all that kind of shit
Mm-hmm.
like that, I was like, these niggas are prototypes. Like these are successful prototypes. Like
Yes.
they like, and they're already out and about. Like that's what that crystal is giving. That's what these are all. Just I'm
I had
guessing
the
it.
same feeling, and I think it's like
Yeah,
super important. Again, we talk about like how important like scaling and feats are, because it tells
yeah.
you what the how worried should I be. Like in the beginning, Clevatess is just like so bugged out, powerful
Just
compared to everything you
swatting
ever
people.
see. There's
Yeah,
a you might walk away from those first couple episodes thinking, oh, this is just like a very straightforward power fantasy where the every little arc we get is like Alicia being the one who has to struggle, and then Clevatess is so OP. It's just like when he bothers to care about what's going on, it's like snap, I'm gonna get y'all the fuck out of here. But what
yeah,
they've slowly done over the 8 episodes that have been out so far is introduce more and more scenarios where like it's not just that Clevatess doesn't give a shit or he's not doesn't know what's going on. There are escalating levels of threat that are surrounding the party as they
yeah,
go from place to place that get further and further away from something that he can just straight up handle. And because he doesn't know, there's a lot of stuff he just does not know
yeah.
about, whatever. And sometimes it's shit that like, oh, he might have to like not just work hard, but like, it's
He's
not
gonna
obvious to
actually
me
battle.
watching a certain situation what the resolution of this. How do you deal with this shit?
Yeah,
Which is good
yeah.
because like you need some surprise when you've got a bunch of overpowered characters running around doing whatever the fuck they
Which
want to do.
the general's like mindset. I was thinking, I was like, okay, he took a different path than what Alicia's dad did. Like Alicia's dad
Mm-hmm.
like took a certain path, retired, da da da. and the general's path is clearly just a much more volatile because he called him a warmonger. And it's kind of just like, okay, but he's warmongering for a reason. He's warmongering in the sense of I'm gonna bring us all together, then get us out. Or that's what
Mm-hmm.
I was interpreting it as. But bitch, I was wondering throughout this whole last episode, I was just like, why isn't Clevatess like freaking the fuck out? Like a human did that to him. Like a human captured him, like blah blah blah. And at the end of the episode, he's just like, yeah, another beast lord is helping homeboy. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, okay. So now we got somebody else with a similar power
Yeah,
scale
so they
in the
theoretically that can
wilds.
match up. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it's like, and that's gonna make it even more so of like a hotbed. Because you know Falcon dude or whatever, blah, blah, blah. He probably still looking in, flying in, checking in on shit, da da da. So that's not even to
Mm-hmm.
say that home girl or home guy or androgynous person, whoever the fuck it
Whatever they are.
was, yeah, they might swoop in and basically be like, well, if we're all leaving our thrones to like fight over this or fight over the human land now, then let it be. Like it could turn into a whole bunch of things. I also like the townspeople. I like how the townspeople heard Alicia out, the story, all that kind of stuff like that. And they were like, all right, cool, yeah. We'll support you. We'll support you. And I did enjoy how like it portrayed like the hot-headedness of like their youth and their youth just like easily going along with just shit and basically being like, oh yeah, we're just gonna do it, we're gonna do it, yeah, get him, get him. And it's like, wait a fucking second. Like, look, let's talk and let's actually think for
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. Let's not just like follow like unabashedly. I am surprised that the nail girl didn't kill the dudes in the square though. I thought she was gonna slaughter them niggas, but
She
she
was
did it.
like kind of chill.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. I did also want to point out that like I didn't realize that when in episode maybe it was like maybe it did happen and I just like missed this in the first episode, but when Alicia was got like sliced up and they showed the flashback shot of like her body in pieces, but like allegedly it was she went high enough in the air that she
To see
saw the curve
beyond.
of the horizon
Yeah.
at night. So basically, they knocked her into the upper atmosphere, and she's like, "Oh shit, the world is round," and it goes on for fucking ever. I don't remember
Yeah.
that
Well,
happening.
we saw her from like this perspective where we saw like
Uh
the
huh.
foot, the leg like come off and shit. So
Yeah,
she was
yes,
flying back. So we saw her
yes.
face, but we didn't see from behind her what she was seeing.
Yeah, but
So
like
that, yeah.
allegedly in this episode, she went up high enough that she saw the
And it didn't seem
entire
like that. It didn't
curve
seem like that.
of the Earth. So she
Yeah.
was like, "Oh shit, it goes on forever. The Earth is round, and the fucking moon and shit." I was like, well, "Hold on a minute now. Like that's a pretty important thing because, she says it herself. Like it caused her character growth. It was a part of her character growth to realize not only all the stuff that she was asking her dad when she was a kid was true, but also like you have to literally. She's like, you got to expand your perspective about like what living is and how who people are and that you can have new experiences and you can grow, which by the way is basically the core
Yeah.
story of the whole series. It's like everybody is an analogy to that in some way. Like Clevatess is literally posing that question. Alicia is doing what she's doing, learning and growing as she travels. You have the baby who literally that's the what babies do. They experience everything is brand new to
Absorb.
them. They experience the whole world. You have all their antagonists are people who, for one reason or another, are either like stuck where they are or like refuse to change or refuse to like learn or do. So there's something about them that like makes them I wouldn't say like irredeemable, but they basically decided, hey, like I'm just doing what I'm doing. I don't give a fuck about other people. I don't give a fuck about growth. I don't give a fuck about anything except like maybe getting powerful for the most
Yeah.
part. That's been like most of the antagonists. So I just like listen. That's clean storytelling. That's nice and clean.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, like that I'm enjoying it. And that bug shit, I don't like. I'm not a fan of bug powers. I don't like seeing that creepy crawlies up and shit, the maggots and the larva and all that other stuff. I was
It
happy
makes
they
me
got that
fucking
nigga the fuck
itchy.
out of here,
Makes me itchy. But yeah. Okay. Oh, something we haven't talked about. So Kaiju number 8. I caught up on that.
bruh.
Um when that nigga did the first punch and his arm got mangled, I said, "Oh, he's out of here. He's dead. He's
they were R
dead."
farming
I
hard.
don't. That was a great episode. Okay, but anyway, rewinding it back from like the beginning of the season to like now. Love the fact that the first division fucking captain is a fucking slack. That nigga is in his room, and the fact that even a few episodes later they drilled it home even further. He was like, "Can I borrow some money? Can I borrow some money?" And
He
she's
said,
like,
"Nigga, what
"Bitch,
the fuck
you
are
have
you doing?"
Amazon packages, brand new Amazon packages, all behind you." He was like, "Don't worry about that. Can I borrow some money? Can I borrow some money?" And I'm like, okay, yeah, like the strong character. It's just like a strong stereotype that is, and he is like not faded by it at all. And then when he met the vice captain from the third division, and they did like the pseudo like delinquent gang meetup thing, like the showdown with like all the people going to each other. I was like, there's so much character. Like the comedy is so easy. It's just flowing. It's just like, yes, this is so great. But when he was having the problem transforming, I was like, it's a mental lock. It's got to be a
Yeah,
mental lock. That's all it
yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm glad that it resolved itself during the fight and not like, damn, we all got fucked up and you were useless. Like, what the fuck? Like, why'd they keep you alive? Which is what one of the bosses wanted to do. But when that nigga showed up in the base and was like, because when he said that, I was like, oh, he wants number eight's power. Like he knows that the thing is embedded in him or whatever, blah, blah, blah. He was like, no, bitch, I want number two. And I'm
Yeah.
already here, actually. And
The
then
fucking annihilator.
when he showed his like new like that black form, I was like, this nigga looks crazier. Like, are you
Yep.
kidding me? But like she had her like pigtails, she had her stunts with the axe. Homeboy broke that bitch. She was like, that's cute. Get
Yep.
that out of here. Get that out of here. I really enjoyed the feats. I like the showcasing of number one's eyes inside of Homeboy and like him like increasing it and da da da. But that that fight with number nine, like I never thought that number nine was going to be like the like the villain to beat. I thought he was gonna
Yeah,
show back up.
the primary antagonist for real. Like,
Yeah. I
yeah.
didn't think he was gonna be a primary. I thought he was gonna be a stepping stone. Like
Yes.
10. Like 10.
Yep.
But then they even kept 10 around where 10 was just like, yeah, make me into a weapon. But and they also brought up the things where they were just like, we've never made a sentient one into a weapon. And then honestly, that makes so much fucking sense because the way that Homeboy put on Six's fucking like arm shit, and that nigga showed up in his mind like what's popping, like couldn't even speak,
Mm-hmm.
was just like psych that nigga the fuck out, and it wasn't even the full suit. It was like, oh yeah, an intelligent one is gonna be like talking, like going
Yep.
at it with them in their head. Like there's gonna be some psychosis that goes along with that. But I think it's a nice like foreshadowing thing because Homeboy said that like he couldn't become captain because of the weapons that he chose and all kind of things like that. I'm just like, okay, well, this is gonna take him to the next level. He's gonna be captain level after he gets like the level 10 suit. I'm assuming they're just gonna do it. They're gonna make it. I know they are. I enjoyed the meeting. I enjoyed the bickering between the other division captains, and they were like, "Bitch, you have alcohol in the fucking Zoom call. I can see that." He was like, "Relax, chill out." Um, yeah, just it's fucking good. And I was really nervous when Nine showed back up again because I was like, he was putting holes in niggas, and he went right back to putting holes in niggas. Like, just they do not care. When Kafka kicked that nigga to like help her get her balance, and I was like, didn't he already like pop off like a chunk of your leg? And then they showed the chunk of the leg plus now your bones are broke, and I was like, okay, all right, they getting her, which that character they can do that with because he gonna regenerate when he does his transformation,
Right.
and then also the consequences, because there's always the consequence, or well, there used to be no consequences, and then there was the losing control consequence, and then after he overcame that hurdle, now there are parts of you that are not turning back, and so that to me is like, oh, we have a time limit. Like we have a time limit now because the battles are not going to stop, but how fast is that going to progress? Which I thought he was hiding it at first, but they already knew about it anyway. He just covered it up with a glove. So I was like, okay, this is just good. Again, it's just really fucking good. Really, really good. Very actually, it's really tight This really tight. I really don't feel like I don't want downtime, but I feel like it doesn't really even give you a chance to have any downtime. It's like boom, boom, this is happening. That's happening. That's happening. And they honestly they did that nigga dirty. They did her daddy so fucking dirty because usually like older characters like that in shonen, they get they shine and they go out. They said, "No nigga, you lost.
Yep. They watched him.
You lost. You did." Even if he were like to survive it with all the like, combining the muscle fibers with his stuff, da da da. Homeboy was like, "You didn't be able to fight again." He was like, "I don't care. I'm a go."
He
Nigga was
if he'd been 10 years younger, maybe, but nope.
yeah, I was like, oh shit, like he's about to lose. And then, like you said earlier, they need to experience that defeat. They need to experience that defeat. I was like, oh, okay, this is the perfect time. Like, this is the end of number 9. He has like a feedback thing. So this is going to be his weakest. His new weakest is right now. You niggas got to do it. Um, and then they couldn't do it. And I was like, oh yeah, the battle that's coming with this, like the rematch, that's gonna be some good shit. And they've set it up so well. They've set it up so well. But my thing is, 9 can't be the origin. I feel like 9 is still a stepping stone. Like he's the current primary antagonist, but I don't think he's the end game. Like I don't see that at all. I think he can give them information after a certain point, like after they fight or defeat him or during the fight, because he'll probably like toy with them or whatever. But I don't think he's the end game. Um, because in that extra episode on the day off, they said that like they didn't want to have that like that like exhibition thing anymore because they didn't want the kaiju to be happening anymore at all. Like the end goal is
Mm-hmm.
like to stop the kaiju completely, like just completely stop it, not basically be like, oh, we always need the defense force because there's always going to be kaiju. So I'm I was thinking, oh, okay, maybe the show is heading in that direction where there's gonna be like a clear cut, like the kaiju are done for, like that. That's it. Kafka sacrifices himself in the end, and the origin or whatever the fuck is going on in the tectonic plates. Which the tectonic plate thing that they even said this time, I was like, oh, that's brand fucking new. But that honestly, that's a really good hypothesis because, like, yeah, I could see that being like because like that amount of energy in that area, and then them talking about number 9 being there where he's incubating the other monstrosities and all that. Just so much good shit. Just so good and so tight. But yeah, I mean, are you caught up on the manga right now?
I have completed the manga.
Oh, it's done already.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
hey.
but I will say that like one of the interesting things is Kaiju 8 comes out swinging very hard and keeps a very like pretty heavy like action pace. The place we're at right now it's at least in the last like couple episodes has been much more dedicated to fleshing out a lot of the side characters. So like not just uh like Reno gets a lot of time. Um I think Soshiro is kind of having that conversation like the beginning of the episode, talking
Mm-hmm.
about to basically, it's a power up, right? I'm gonna go use
Yeah.
the new kaiju to get another weapon. Um, but I think it's important because the series doesn't really spend a heck of a lot of time on like lore per se. Like you get a little
Oh.
bit here and there about like like in this episode, right? There's like the internal politics of the defense force, and you do meet other captains, and you do kind of get a look into what it's like to sync up with some of these weapons. And so like there's definitely like lore there, but what they don't spend a lot of time on, at least not until I would say a little bit later, is a perspective from like the kaiju side. That's why in like the first season, whenever you would get like a little bit of time with like number 9, it was always very like bizarre because it would just be him
Mm-hmm.
like stealing somebody's body and like blending in a little bit with humans, but obviously it's like an alien creature. It's like very weird. So there's not a heck of a lot of like back and forth that you see like what's going on the other side of it. So I like especially in this part of the series, but definitely the last like 2 episodes, episodes 5 and 6, um, that
Yeah.
that we do get some down. I will call it downtime. Like people aren't like frying each other yet, but then there are some pretty big like action set pieces that I think will
Mm.
also be covered in this season that are pretty cool. That I don't know. As a manga reader, it's more like I'm just excited to see stuff get animated, and I think they've
Yeah.
done a good job. I think the color palette I think is a little bit more like washed out this season. That's the only thing I can think of. That's
Oh,
like a difference
oh,
between like
okay,
season
yeah.
one and season two.
I
Yeah,
agree with that because I definitely noticed it, and I was just like, uh, I'm not mad at it, but I was like, yeah, it doesn't seem as vibrant.
it makes things just feel a little bit more depressing. I think that
Mm.
that may be
Maybe that'd be
purposeful. I don't
intentional
know.
because of all the stuff at the end. I guess, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of starts with a pretty depressing event, so I could see like toning it down a little bit because like the first season is very much about like Kafka and sort of his hopefulness for getting a dream or a future that he thought he wasn't going to have. The second season, or like the arcs that are covered by the second season, are really much more of a downer. They're like, oh shit, like you thought shit was sweet, you thought we were just gonna like beat up all the monsters, but actually like there's on top of the fact that like his secret is now out and he's kind of under the gun, the world does not seem like it's moving towards a place of like success. Feels like maybe we're taking L's right now and shit is scarier and much more serious than we thought it was. So maybe that's like a deliberate choice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not sure.
It fits. If that's what they're going for, yeah, it fits.
Yeah.
Um okay. The main thing I caught up on was DanDaDan. Um
Oh boy.
and I am actually so fucking happy that I waited because I got to see not the entirety of it, but I got to see the whole worm arc all together. And I'm so
That's
happy for
wild.
that. I'm so fucking happy for that. Because bitch, if I had to wait weekly for that, I would be fiending. I'm not even gonna lie. I'd be fiending for that shit. But anyway, so we'll get to that. So I'll go step by step. Um the comedy in this show is fucking unmatched. The I love the fucking dynamics between all the characters. The introduction of Ira, the introduction of Granny, Turbo Granny as like the cat. Like I did not even think that she was gonna be a fucking mascot character at
Mm-hmm.
all. And then she became one. And then even the mascot character, her not having powers, but the fucking the myth of the cat itself having powers, and they bring that
Mm-hmm.
in, and in the next fight they bring it in, but they're like, but it can also help the other person too. Like it's not just you, nigga. It's like I can't control this shit. If I'm here, it's just helping somebody. It's like okay, yeah. But the bickering and back and forth between Ira and Momo, Momo and Okarum, Momo and her grandmother, grandmother and Okarum, like all that stuff, it just seems like so flawlessly funny. And like the voice actors are having so much fun.
Oh hell
And
yeah,
so
they're
this
killing
is
it both
this
sides.
is one comparison I have. So I liked it so much that I went and I watched it all the way through in the English dub also to where it's at right now. And AJ Beckles is doing a fucking phenomenal job. Like I really love him. But Okaran is Tanjiro. Like he does Tanjiro also. So
Mm-hmm.
he's paid out fucking wazoo over there, clearly. But my biggest thing, or my biggest difference that I noticed between those, the dub and the sub, is that the comedy is not hitting the same way. Um, the vocal, I mean, I know this is like a regular thing where it's like, oh, the vocal inflections of this, like, oh, this is why I like sub more because it's original language. Da, da, da. I understand all that stuff. Yeah, 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 yeah. The majority of this dub is amazing, but having watched the sub version and knowing like the exact comedy beats that they hit there, and then they're trying to make the same thing funny in the English version, but I was like, but that doesn't translate well to the English version. Like, or it's like the comedic timing was off. It was almost like you tried to exactly copy it and it didn't work. Like everything else is amazing, like the over action voice acting, the
Mm-hmm.
slice of life voice acting, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like the comedy beats specifically for the English dub, I'm just like, it's it's completely missing it for me at least. Now I'm pretty sure there are people who have only watched the English dub and they love that stuff, but having watched both, I'm just like, oh yeah, like the English dub is the perfect thing for me to put on while I'm fucking cleaning my house. Perfect fucking thing. Because the moment I hear that music, I stop and I'll be like, I'm gonna watch this scene real quick. Let me watch this shit. All right, all right, all right. I gotta fucking clean. I gotta go fucking clean. And then it goes on. It just keeps playing. And I'm like, oh, I fucking remember this. Hold on, I'm gonna watch that too. I'm gonna watch that too. And I go to clean. I'm just like, this is part like, yeah, just like Freewind, just like Freewind. I put on the dub of English dub of Freewind all the fucking time in the background. And every time I turn around, Zoltrus like boom, bam, we blasting demons, bitch. I'm just like, I love this. That's so good, very entertaining. But that's my main thing. I'm not saying like because of this it is like less good compared to the Japanese sub, but for me, that's the thing that like stood out. But yeah, like AJ Beckles and crew, they're doing a major job. Honestly, I would even say like Turbo Granny, like the Turbo Granny for the dub is like almost just as good as like the Turbo Granny from the sub. Like their inflections and their like timbre are almost exactly the fucking same. Like like everybody's doing a good job. Everybody's doing a good job. Anyway, so I had stopped watching the show season 1 after the Granny fight, when they like got her on the train. Da 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 da. So then we go right to the next episode. Golden balls. Golden
Oh my god.
balls.
Oh
I was like,
god.
oh wow. Wow, golden balls. They put Granny in the fucking cat, and then Granny started talking cat shit. And it's just like, it's just a natural, especially whenever they are in the house. And one of my favorite things that I liked about this is that going back through it and rewatching it, you see how like like the found family grows around the dinner table, because they always go back to the dinner table and they always have dinner after this crazy ass fucking fights. And you see the interactions between everyone, the new people, the old people. Chiquita fucking finally showed up when they got his little fucking milk and shit like that. All that, and everything is so connected. And the thing that blew my mind the most, which made me basically be like, oh, this is actually going to get fucking insane, which I've always heard people say. They're like, the scaling is going to go insane. Like, it's going to be like fucking insane. Like, da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, yeah. But when Okarun was like, I have an hypothesis that the reason why they're aliens and we haven't been full-fledged invaded is because of the yokai. The yokai are protecting Earth. And I was like, oh, shit. And I was like, well, there's already evidence of that in the story itself. Like Turbo Granny's like story and all that kind of stuff like that. And Acrobatic Silky. That Acrobatic Silky sequence was so fucking insane. First of all, animation was crazy.
I mean, there's so many examples of that, like all over the place.
All over the place. But the way that I was like, her and that fight, because like when he was fighting Turbo Granny and the movements, they were like smooth while he was running fast, but it was also very like jagged, like like showcasing the angles and like the like square edges. But with her, she had that stuff, but the movement of the character, and then I can't imagine how the fuck to animate all that fucking hair going everywhere. I was like, this must have been insane to do. Like, insane to do. Love the whole sequence. And then they did the fucking flashback for the Acrobatic Silky's like original soul. And I was like, oh, bitch, this is art. Like, this is art. Like, this is art. This is beautiful. That whole sequence, they didn't even say any fucking words. It was just the music showcasing her with the daughter going through life, just going through life, suffering through life. And then one bad thing fucked up and it was a domino effect and death. And then Ira's powers, being heightened at some point and seeing her, and then that being a domino effect into this moment right here. And I'm just like, oh, okay, whatever. And then in my head, I was thinking after everything that happened here, oh yeah, she's gonna be living. But I was like, oh, but wouldn't Ira be like, shouldn't she get some kind of combat power, blah, blah, blah. Right on fucking cue, boom, she gets awakened. So she's now we're in a duo, we're trio now. Yep. And I'm like, no, you bitches did it. And then the aliens come back, and then they're showcasing new shit. And like the comedy beats when they're like, they shot the fucking thing and he was like, you didn't hear me say it this time. I don't have to say it. Like, and I'm just like, nigga, are you really doing this? Anyways,
right.
That just everything flowed together so well, so smoothly. And then in the exact same time, I'm just watching some of the best, like fucking, not even some of the best, some of the coolest and some of the most like artistically driven animation that I've
Yeah,
ever
that's what
fucking
I wanted
seen.
to get at because I think the work that Science Saru has put into the both season one and then season two is like I don't know. There's a weird thing that's happening where as much as like the show is getting a lot of recognition, there are people who it's just not for them, right? Like and there's
Yeah,
a kind of I think there's a small backlash to the show that clouds the kind of conversations that I think should be had about it, which is like this is like it's art, bro. It's art. Yeah, there's a lot
it's
of
art,
comedy,
and
there's action.
also it's a great example of people with emotional intelligence. And they
Yeah.
don't have it in Rain the entire time, but the way that Okaru and Momo and Ira and Gigi have interacted with each other, and even with the grandma, the way that they have done things wrong to each other and apologized and been like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, or it's being like, hey, I know you're angry. Can I please tell you my side of it? You didn't even listen to my side. Can I even get a chance? And I'm just like, these are very mature things coming from characters who I can't believe this is coming from, because these are high schoolers. So yeah, I can understand Momo being difficult and stubborn and not wanting to do this, but I can also understand Okaru's desperation because that's his first friend and he doesn't want to lose her. He wants to be clarified. And so he's putting all of himself out there to maintain that relationship that he cares about a lot. And
Yeah.
that is a consistent theme, because even after all that shit with Ira, sat in that fucking classroom and they were just dogging Momo. And after everything she went through, when she's like, I lied. I lied. I made it all up. And I was like,
Yeah.
that was the last thing I was expecting her to do. I was expecting her to do what her character has been setting up this entire time. I care about my appearance, how I am perceived. I want to be popular. I want this. I want that. This is what I should be. But then after she's thrust into this new world, it's like, maybe I don't want those things as much as I did as I used to. And also, even though I'm calling this bitch like a demon from hell, like 24/7, da 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 da, I do respect her. I do have some sort of like acknowledgement and feelings for like she as a person, because Momo straight up was like, hey, I did this bad thing. I apologize for that. I hope we can move forward in a different way. If not, I also get it. I completely understand. Life's messy. Shit's messy. These niggas trying to kill us. It is what it is. It's like, and I'm like, oh my God, like such mature characters and believably mature. But also I feel like sometimes that probably is a thing that people don't like. Like sometimes other people don't like to see healthy resolutions because they don't want healthy resolutions themselves. Like they grow up, they like are manifested, like they live in chaos. So they're just like, no, like you're supposed to be arguing, like he's supposed to be mad at her for a season, or like he's supposed to be mad at her for the arc, and then she pops up out of nowhere at the end. It's like, no, they get to the fucking bottom of shit so quickly, and then it allows them to do the fucking action cool shit because they're all like, okay, we're cool again. Like let's get this shit, let's lock in, like let's do it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I saw that conversation and stuff about on TikTok about it being like, oh, it's hypersexualized and like it's promoting sexual assault and da 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 da. And I'm just like, that's how you know you niggas are stupid, because as you said, it is literally the opposite. It's literally saying, hey, these are analogies, these are things that do go on, and these are bad things, and the characters are fighting against all of it. They are not promoting any of it.
Yeah, I think if you really sit down and watch this show and your primary takeaway is that it's promoting sexual assault or fair, almost like anything negative, I don't think you watched it. I think
No, I think you
I
saw
think what you I think
screenshots of Momo in the first episode.
yeah, I mean, like, listen, it certainly like content can be a turnoff for anybody, and it could be any kind of content, like, whether it's something that is universally reviled or something that's just very specific to the one person who's like consuming it. But you can't look at something with well-developed characters, mature themes, Consistent storytelling, excellent artwork, both traditional and experimental, great music, high concept, and low concept, um, visual and storyline beats, and walk away from it and say, well, it's just the sum of its parts to me. Right. I think that's not a fair thing to say. And I think that honestly, like, we train a lot of folks to engage with media like that. Like, oh, okay, I saw something I didn't
Mm.
like or I didn't appreciate, or more
I'm
usually
throwing it
somebody
all
told me
out.
that there was something there that I shouldn't like or shouldn't appreciate. And instead of trying to understand what it is that I just consumed, it's just react, react, react. Oh, people are glazing it too much. Oh, it's got questionable things that are promoting stuff that whatever. If like, if all media just boil down to what it promotes, then there's really nothing there. There's no point in really consuming anything because like,
Yeah.
you could find a problem with whatever. But I just think it's a Science Saru typically has a history of making really interesting projects. And if DanDaDan at the very least is super interesting. Like it's super
Yes.
interesting. Your takeaway at the end
Yes.
of the day might be I didn't enjoy it for whatever reason. Or I think that, people are using it as a cudgel to attack the things I like and say the things that I like aren't good because they're not like this thing. That's fine. But then go debate that. Don't use that as a proxy to shit on something good because honestly, if more anime was like DanDaDan, your art form would be taken a lot more seriously.
Oh my God. Bruh. I mean, the fucking underwater fight, that like that whole sequence, all that stuff alone. And
Yeah.
even to the most recent episodes with the fucking Mozart and the classical
Yeah.
musician fight. I was
Yes.
like, oh my God, this is so cool.
As
And
mature and bizarre and outlandish as much of this
the
show is.
way that, and my thing is like, this is like it from the author's mind and on his pages to like this
Mhm.
screen. I'm just like, so he had that concept, he already had that as a part of the story, but then the way that they manifested it, I was like, this is just so fucking good. I could play that for music majors who don't give a fuck about
Yeah.
anime, and they'd be like, what is this? What oh, like, oh yeah, like, no, oh, I just sang this chorus last summer, like blah blah
Yeah.
blah. I wanted, oh wow, that's so funny that they use that. Da, 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 da. It's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
but no one, nothing else is doing that. Like when you think of Mozart or like Beethoven or anything like that,
Yep.
and a show, it is a musical anime. Like it is specifically focusing on like a classical musicians like depression or climb to the top or high school musicians or something like that. And this is just like a 2 episode sequence, 2 episode sequence of a training arc, and then where we're at
Yeah.
right now. But holy shit, I lost my shit when the Hayakashi were the fucking rock band, and then they
That
had
was a
a
hot that was some ill shit.
full musical full
Yep.
song
Yep.
sequence, animation, everything. I was like, they are sparing no expense. This is a
Yeah.
song I would honestly. I want to go look for the song. I don't even know if it was available yet. I was like, bitch, I don't even listen to this genre like that. I want that song though. Give that to me. That was so fucking cool. That was so cool. And I'm just like, that's why we keep telling you niggas, it's like it's a blending of all of these art forms. It's the visual, it's the like, it's the visual, it's the music, it's the dialogue. It's just, it was all of it. And then the comedy interspersed. Because when they started doing that shit, and then like Okaru and Momo and Ira, and they started rocking their head, and then they pan over to the granny in the full ceremonial garb, going like
Mm-hmm.
this with the fucking thing, and I'm just like, bruh, all right. But anyways, my favorite thing, or I guess all of it's my fucking favorite. But I'm so fucking happy that I got to see Evil Eye's debut all the way through, because that nigga came out swinging. that nigga came out. Also, that fucking design, the earrings.
Oh,
I
that
was
shit's
like,
sick, bro.
he looks so cool. He looks so cool. It just all and it all like built into each other, like the story of how the evil eye developed there, and the fact that it's a young evil eye. That's not even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Grandma talking about, oh yeah, mountain spirits are way stronger than the rest of these motherfuckers. Like y'all don't know nothing about the mountain spirits. It's just like one thing after another, and then all that shit's going on. Evil Eye gets out, and then Grandma comes down off the
Yep.
spaceship on the fucking bat. Like,
With the WAP.
yeah,
Yep.
and she's just like, I didn't know an Evil Eye was here. I have to show up, and then washed that nigga, washed his ass. It was just all so cool. It was also cool, and then also even the heartfelt stuff when the grandmother was talking to the apprentice about the Hayakashi coming back the second time, and she was just like, the stuff about, like us adults should have, like, we should be living for the children to like give them chances to make mistakes and like have a chance at experiencing different things, and like they shouldn't just be unfathomably burdened by just like all this random shit constantly. We should be taking on some of that burden as the adults in their lives. And he was like,
Yep.
hey, but there's a point. There's a point. And he was like, I'm doing it. Shut the fuck. I'm doing it. And I'm like, oh wow. So you're not the authority, like, and this is this and that and that. And then they were talking about all these different. Anyway, show is phenomenal. Show is fucking phenomenal, 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 phenomenal. I had a ball catching up. A
There's an
ball.
exceptional amount of depth. It is beautiful to look at. It is fun to watch. The characters are interesting. They feel unique and fresh. The ideas that are being dealt with are simultaneously familiar and also new. Science are just putting their whole fucking foot in it, as usual. And, even if you're someone who doesn't like, frankly, anything about the series, don't like the fandom, don't like the reactions to it, the way people get a little bit aggressive in the way they want to defend it, you got to understand that, like, if you want your medium to be something other than a 48-hour goon fest, then shows like DanDaDan, and manga as well, but like just IPs like this have to be able to live and breathe in public without a lot of like fighting around it. Like, just the way it is.
Yeah.
I don't think I think the general consensus is a great series. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a hit. People like it, but I just noticed, especially for season 2, that there's like a lot of backlash along similar lines as like the free run backlash. Not exactly the same, because I think that
Oh,
was
how
more
so?
people in like the whole like anime
I didn't even know there
elitists
was.
versus the plebs kind of thing,
Oh,
where I think it really got stupid around the various like anime awards for the year for different outlets, where if it was a fan award, it's like, oh, Solo Leveling is peak, it's peak, and then either it does or doesn't win. And then the other side of it, it's like, well, Free Run was the greatest thing that's ever been written, and if you don't understand it, you're just a dirty, unwashed heathen. It's like, all right,
it's just
DanDaDan was kind of
numbers.
getting some of that, sort of
Oh,
the ripples of that, because it
okay.
is, it's a, I would say that in some ways it's a prestige series, but it's also comedy as well as drama,
Yeah.
and it does both present mature themes and also play with a lot of vulgarity that usually is mostly just used for fan service. But in this case, like, there is some uh, subtle twisting of that and some satire that's aimed at anime in general, or like anime fans in general. So like there's things in there where like you look at it, especially like the early episodes where they play up um you know panty shots or talking
The
about
gyaru-ness of
bananas and
Momo.
like all this other stuff, and for
Yeah.
somebody watching that, if it can feel like it's just the worst lowbrow stuff there to get attention, but if you watch and you know or read the manga, you understand that in a lot of ways though that is satirical, and it's poking fun at that rather than living on top of that. But that's the
Mm.
whole part about like the elitism. There's folks who just say, well, you didn't like it, you didn't get it, you didn't understand it. And a lot of people take umbrage to that. They say, well, I did see it, it made me, it was off-putting to me, and you telling me that like I am stupid because I don't get it means I'm just going to go trash everything about the show. And it's like, don't be childish.
Mm.
Like, you can attack those people for being assholes
Well,
about you not getting it without
that's what I
being
learned.
an asshole.
That's what a lot of these people on the internet are. That
Yeah, no,
that
I
is
I,
that.
I
So
have
yeah.
also full disclosure, like I am acquainted with AJ Beckles personally, so like if I say good things about him, it's not just glazing,
Oh, I've
you
never met
know.
him before. No, I just really like
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, no, like I think he did a great job. I The dub is actually it's watchable. I guess that's a nice way to say it. I'm not a dub guy, so if I say someone's watchable, that to me it reached a pretty high standard. So I think it's pretty good. However you want to
Wow.
get at it.
Yeah, I mean that's unfortunate, but also after I saw the success of My Hero Academia, um, and the way that things just turned rabid around that show when it first came
Yep.
out, or like after it first came out. I remember when it first came out and niggas were in love with it and it was so great. And then all of a sudden I started reading and I started watching, and it was just a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
For no reason at all. It was just a shit show surrounding that show, its fandom, its community, the anti-fandom. I was just like, this is too much. This is too much. Just enjoy it. And if you don't watch it. Don't watch it. You do not need to be a part of the community. Just because it's a big show doesn't mean that it's for you. Um,
You know, one thing I think about is like the way in which anime is particularly is produced and then like disseminated to us has created a very weird modern like cycle of fandom that I don't think really existed before. Like Dragon Ball was always very popular, you know, almost
mm-hmm.
from off rip, like the original comic, and had decades to build up essentially lifelong fans. And that's why it's like whatever. What is it, like the 10th most valuable IP, like media IP or something like that? I don't know. It's really high up
Yeah,
there.
it's I think it's top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there. It's like really big. And probably like up
Is
until the era of like the big three, the way that anime and manga was produced was so consistently, and I would say it was actually non-cyclical. So what do I mean by that, right? When Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece and continually One Piece were originally airing, that was an era where you basically, for long running big name IPs, you were getting a hit of dopamine every week for years. The idea of like the show going away or having to like have time off for the biggest stuff was non-existent. The idea of like taking like multi-year breaks or anything else like that. So the result in my mind is that the way people got used to consuming back then was that you could build up your own personal interest in a thing over a long period of time, and even if like, you know, you're stuck in the vortex of like Naruto filler arcs, or there's something about the way the story of your favorite show didn't really have a satisfying payoff, or like maybe this arc didn't work for you, you were, because you were always re-engaged with it as a fan, and likewise if you weren't a fan it was always just kind of around, that it didn't
yeah.
encourage people to like come to definitive conclusions about something, because it was always being drip fed to you over a long period of time. Fast forward to today, the even like the politics around what gets popular and how it gets popular, you get people like, let's say like My Hero pops up. Okay, you get like a really strong first season, everyone is like jerking off like, oh my god, it's the greatest thing ever, can't wait for season two. But then you gotta wait, like 6 months, sometimes 12 months for another hit, and in between that amount of time you have either decided that this is your fucking personality, or you are
Oh,
quietly worried that it's not going to be as interesting to you when you come back to it for any number of reasons. I think a big one is the people who get into like shonen in particular are young, which means the person that you are when you're 13 or 14
still
is not the same
developing.
person you're going to be when you're 15. If you're
Yeah.
waiting years between hits for your favorite thing, I think it just creates this like weird need to be either obsessively positive about something and defensive, or like turning on it and souring on it and never coming back to it and being an asshole about it. And
Very
I
teenage.
wonder if like even shows that are high quality, whatever you want to read into that, I feel like a lot of those shows get hurt more by it than the stuff that is legitimately just slop because nobody cares. Like I don't see people like going to war in the comments trying to defend SAO in 2025, even though it's a
Oh,
massively popular franchise. That's like, there's I'm sure there's mega
are
fans who just live and breathe that shit. But
yeah,
like, you
yeah.
know, the heat has kind of died down. Meanwhile, you get these once every couple of year drops on high profile shows, and it's like the first year it comes out, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. 2 years later, people are like, nah, that's just whack, bro. It's whack. I'm like, what changed?
They did.
What fucking
Or
changed? Like,
their perception or their surroundings, the group, the animated they watch, or they got a girlfriend that don't like anime or whatever,
right.
like
Like
whatever, man.
people turned on My Hero.
Fast,
They turned on it,
fast,
right?
fast.
Biggest thing
What?
ever. They turned on Demon Slayer, even though objectively it's gonna make $1 billion. And
Oh my
like,
god! In September, those fucking charts are going to be insane. Those charts are
yeah,
going to be
bro.
insane.
Yeah,
Those
it's gonna
charts,
go
because
nuts.
I hear people at my job. They were talking about it before I left on vacation. One of my like coworkers, she was like, "Oh yeah, me, my son, and my daughter and my husband are gonna go see this demon something movie. It's an
Yep.
anime, but apparently it's gonna be really good." And I was like, "Have you watched any of the seasons?" She's like, "No." And I was like, "All right,
Yep.
cool,
The
cool."
cycles of like of glazing and then hard backlash against Mushoku Tensei should be studied because of I think there was like a 2 year gap and it went from like, oh, everybody, and between, was it season 2 and 3 or 1 and 2? I don't remember which one it was.
Uh-huh.
1 and 2, and that was like,
Yeah.
Mushoku Tensei is amazing, it's great, it's this and that, and then but before the next season even came out, people had turned on. I was like, no, it's toxic. This guy's a pervert. It's this
Rudy's,
and that.
blah blah
Like,
blah.
Rudius is
Well,
a disgusting human being. It's like the entire cycle had run between seasons of the show. And I only bring it up to be like a lot of the really long running stuff that everyone, like now people can say whatever they want, but like I don't think there was a backlash. There was time for a backlash to Dragon Ball.
and I don't think people were as interconnected as we are.
Right.
So in high school, you kind of had to fucking develop your own personality because the internet really wasn't there yet. Um, when Dragon Ball was, well, actually, no, when Dragon Ball, well, no, it was like partial because they weren't airing Dragon Ball here that like when it was originally dropping in Japan. But
Yeah.
when they did air it, we had like dial up and shit like that. So it wasn't like, I mean, we were in chat rooms, but we weren't on like social media was not what it
Yeah,
is
no, it
today,
didn't. He
what
didn't
it
have to
was back
live in
then.
the accelerated like
Yeah.
cycle of discourse that
And it
everything
was
else that came afterwards does.
and it was hard for them to it's like now you can find a bubble and you can never leave it. It's like it's really
Right.
fucking easy for that. And so I feel like back then it's like, oh, I like this. You go to school, you'd be like, oh, you watch the show? Yeah, I watched the show. Or no, I didn't watch the show. All right, you didn't watch it. You watched it. We want to talk about this. We want to da da da. I really like it. I really like this too, et cetera, et cetera. But there's never a like, oh, you uncultured swine. You don't like Sailor Moon? Like, oh my God, like what the hell? Like da da da. Or like, you didn't watch G Gundam, you dirty bitch. Like da da da. It's like it was never that serious. And now it's like the personalities are attached to the
Yeah.
IPs. And
And you
that's
didn't
just
have
it's
to
not
decide.
healthy. You
You
did it
didn't have to decide whether something was good or
because the
bad.
homeboys was talking about Sailor Moon just like the girls.
Yeah, yeah, like you know what I mean, like I totally agree, and like that's kind of the thing I see about like the way we consume it now, like because we get it in 10 to 12 episode blocks that run for a season, and then you have a long time off, and in that in between time, you have other things that kind of cycle in and cycle out. It kind of naturally leads people to like two two very distant extremes about the thing they just saw. Number one, you kind of sit back and you say, okay, if in order for this to be good, I have to be as excited about the next 12 episodes of this thing as I was about the first 12 that I got that really either turned me on or turned me off. And we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to make that decision back in the day about a lot of that stuff because number one, a lot of it didn't run that long. So you just got a single package and then you just like, well, I guess F Fooly Cooley is
I
good. Or right,
I
I
guess
don't
it
have to
doesn't
worry
exist
about like, am
anymore.
I gonna maintain my level of interest in this without any inputs for another year and a half before I see any more of it. So like that's one side of it. And then on the other side, I think it's also created a weird expectation that the thing that I'm into now either has to be better than the next thing I'm going to get shown in order for it to remain good, or I am always only looking forward to the next thing. There's no reflection. It's like,
Yeah.
I was on the Attack
Also,
on Titan hype train and then it fucked up and I fell off and I got into another hype train and that was just not a thing for some of these older, longer running things. So it's just
and also for whatever it is that you are propping up at that moment, you have to have a flawless defense
yes,
of it at all times.
right.
It has to be a flawless. You need all the facts. You need all this. Da da da. Honestly, and this is like the like guys quizzing anime girls on shit. Like this is like that, but it just like mutated and evolved into just like a fucking like plague. Because like girls would say that. Are they? Well, they honestly they do still say it today, where they're like, "Oh, I like anime. Oh, you like what you watch? What you watch? You like Dragon Ball? Actually, no, I like Grimgar. What is Grimgar? That's just a Grimgar. What are you talking about? Nah, who's Vegeta's daddy? Who Goku daddy? Who this? Who that? Da da da. It's just like, wait, no, she's valid because she liked the show and she didn't watch your show, but because your show is the a popular anime thing, that makes her all her shit. Like you're not a real fan. You're not a real fan. You're not a real fan. I don't know. I feel like this would like hit home better if I knew like sports analogies about it. But I don't know those
Mm-hmm.
fucking teams like that. I don't know none of them niggas like that. So I can't do that shit. So I don't know. But that would get through
I
to them
don't know.
niggas.
I think the stories, the all stories are about some kind of change. If there is no change, that's not a story. It's just a recitation of events, things that happened, right? It might as well be history. It might as well you might as well say, well, on this date this thing happened, and on this date that thing happened. And I think that we've talked before, both amongst ourselves and sometimes when we have guests about like the death of media literacy in general and how that affects fandoms and everything else. And I look at this as like another side of that like problem of it's not enough that you enjoy something. The fact that you enjoy it means that it had to be great at everything. It had to be a great story. The characters had to be great. Like that's the equation is going the wrong way. It's not because of those things that you enjoyed it. It's you enjoyed it, therefore those other things must be true, which is how you get people arguing about like Sung Jin Woo is a great character. It's like, is he? You might enjoy what happened in Solo Leveling. It might have triggered the nice dopamine response in your brain, and all the constant R farming really got to you, and it was exciting. But if you want to tell a story with a character and you start plotting out, okay, well, what change did this character go through and what facilitated that change and what was communicated to me as an audience member about the root of those changes and how, believable or not believable were that. When you start to pull things out that way, you don't have a lot of defense for a lot of these very shallow, stories. They're not nothing, but they're also quite shallow. So then when someone says, well, what I appreciate in some other piece of fiction is that they really did put a lot of effort into that. What like summertime rendering or like
Mm.
whatever you want to point to where like okay you could point well this didn't look as good or the animation wasn't as good here
Rocka no
or had
Yusha.
right, yeah, or like whatever. Here are all the flaws of this other thing, but it's like, okay, at least we can go bar for bar on what is characterization, what is storytelling, what is good narrative focus, what is good world building, what is efficient use of screen time, pacing, all that other stuff. But nobody wants to get into that because they've already decided, I love this thing, so because I love it, it's got
It's
to be
better than
great.
everything else.
Right. Or you could just say you love it despite all the flaws that it has because you put a lot of value on really hype moments or like excuses for, great animation or action choreography or literally just flashing lights on the screen really get you excited. That's okay. But instead, it's like, no, let's not talk about that. It said DanDaDan is problematic and that's why it's bad. And it's like, what are we even doing?
Getting clicks and views.
I guess
That's what
so.
that is. That's
I
what
guess.
that is exactly what that is.
Yep.
Um But yeah, Don. So I'll be up to date on DanDaDan every week now, and
Yep.
that fight is about to happen. I'm assuming it's going to be a fight. I don't know if it's going to be like a millisecond or whatever, but it's happening because when they did it and he expanded the fucking area to
That's
block
right.
the cold water, I was like,
I was like,
oh,
oh shit. Oh, we
this nigga
doing it,
getting
huh?
this nigga getting cold now. He
We
said,
fucking
I'm
doing it.
staying out, bitch. I'm staying out. Oh yeah, it was so good. And another detail that I like that it became part of the story because I was like, yo, he's blowing up in the house all the time. The house was be wrecked, and then that became part of the story. I was like, oh, well, cool. Okay, like continuity. I'll take it. I'll fucking take it. Because in the Sentai shows, it'd be like magical restoration. Everything is okay again. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that I watched was Lord of Mysteries.
Mm.
Um the most recent dubbed episode. There have been 12 episodes released so far, but only 6, I believe, are dubbed.
Oh, it's
And
at
so I'm on
12.
episodes.
Oh,
Say again?
wow. It's at
Yeah.
12 already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, wait,
That's what I'm
because it
saying. Like,
started a little earlier than
yeah.
everything else. Okay.
So, in episode 6, so we're at a part of the story. And again, I've not read the light novels, and I don't really know very much about like where this is all going to end up in the end because I know that there's a lot to cover. And going back to what we mentioned before, it's not totally clear to me how much is being adapted on like a per episode basis because some episodes feel like they're very they're part of like a continuous narrative and they kind of move along at a normal pace, and some episodes kind of feel a little bit segmented where it's like a story that's being told in one area or one space, kind of not quite monster of the week, but um of that vein. And so in episode 6, we turn around to focus on Azek and Klein's relationship. So Azek is a professor who Klein was either acquainted with or working under before the transmigration event where his body dies and then the Joe
Mm.
character takes it over. But like
Okay.
we kind of come back to him, and it's a little like a two-parter because the first part of the episode is like a an investigation that is being conducted by Klein and the other like Beyonders who are part of that like security company, and they're going to this
Yeah.
castle. There's rumors. I had a hard time clocking this. So someone who's like following this a little closer than me can correct this or whatever. Obviously appreciate it. So they introduced the episode that the is it her name Claire, like the girl from the prior episode with the diviners, has been having bad dreams, and so they track the source of the bad dreams to a castle. In the castle there's a spirit. It's like a headless warrior. There's a really cool and intricate fight scene between Klein and the party with that headless thing, and without giving away too much, it basically they set up in the very beginning of the episode that this spirit is playing with illusions, and then there's an artifact that can kind of block that, but there's a
Mm.
time limit that you have to be basically have to keep this spirit around for like 15 minutes in order for the artifact to actually work. Which will the artifact will come back later, but like we go through all this, they finally defeat the ghost, and then it turns out there's a connection between the castle and his former professor, which leads to Klein linking up with the professor. Basically, the professor's like, "Hey, I'll come explore this place. It's related to my past that I can't remember. You, in exchange for like you help me out and keep your mouth shut about whatever we find, I'll help you get to the root of what's going on." A lot of yada yada. We basically find out that Azek is like a possibly immortal, possibly cursed individual who's lived a whole bunch of lives, and the stuff that's in the castle is related to his
Oh.
past. And
Oh.
there's some pretty sick shit that happens, and I was like, I spent the whole episode wondering, like, is Azek going to be an antagonist? Because in prior episodes, it felt like he was communing with things that were or working with the group maybe that was like going after Klein, but then in this episode, it was sort of like he was both attacking him, but also working with them, and then by the end, I think they're probably more likely allies than enemies. but there was a lot of
Yeah.
like wild shit. The craziest thing that happened is that we got like so Klein has is a seer.
Yeah.
His abilities basically all revolve around divination. Divination allows you to both see the future and also see the past and also see the truth of things. And he also has this gray fog power, which is not up until this episode is not very well explained, except for the fact that we know that it is able to protect him from exposure to other Beyonder powers that would otherwise like fry a regular person or kill them, because it came up in the third episode when he's fighting with the other higher level seer who thought he had like bamboozled him with his like ability, but actually Klein was immune to it. Um, Fun fact: the other character in that fight was who was also immune. They don't explain why he was immune, so I'm curious if that's going to come back later on. But suffice to say, he uses his divination power on the artifact that had been originally used to like beat off the spirits, and winds up staring directly into the eye of a god and nearly
Mm.
like burns his soul alive and is like rescued at the last minute. I was like, hold on, rewind that. What the fuck was that shit? The Lord of the Sun is like, I guess, one of the positive deities or the good deities, but he basically like saw directly into the eye of God and lived. And that shit was fucking nuts. So I'm just trying to figure out like, oh yeah, and he also through that found out one of the potion sequences for the like high level for the sun god, like level 4. He's like a level 8 or a 9 on his seer shit. He got a level 4, and I guess like when you're that deep in the sequence, like 0 is like if you get to 0, you have become the primordial power of the universe that can create and destroy everything. A 1 is like a
Wow.
ancestral deity, so all the gods are like a 1. 2 through 4, I don't think we've run into a character in the series who's at that level. That's like still demigod status, and he already picked up a sequence 4 for the sun. So I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know. He's not on the priest path, so I don't know if it's useful to him to even know that. But like this is the level of crazy shit that be happening in episodes, and I'm like, someone put some thought into this. I just don't know what it all adds up to. So like I'm enjoying it, but there was also
It's
some really
gonna
cool
be
flashback scenes from
interesting.
Azek when I guess he was like his first life, and he like his abilities were fucking nuts. Like he literally summons a goddamn colossal titan and is like shredding knights and blowing shit apart. It's crazy.
And
So
so he didn't do this. Did he use the same process that was used on Klein, but instead of going to a different world, he just went to another body within the same
so I don't
world?
know. So it sounds like in the what they were saying is he was, I think, cursed in some way. I am
Oh,
not totally
okay.
I'm not totally certain what that is, because it definitely is probably tied to the power that was in the Antigonus notebook. They also again have not totally explained why it is that Klein has access to that other realm of the gray fog that he does yet, and that he basically set himself up as the top of the fool arcana in that world. It's not like he's like competing with another god for that role. So somehow he just kind of got that, and I don't know if that is the reason why he survived to basically looking into the eye of God, like eyes open, head on, like that. Because when he goes through and he does this thing on the sun tablet, he tries to like he sees an image from the past and he touches like a golden droplet and realizes that it's like that's the blood of a god. And when he touches it, he literally is staring at the sun. And his like soul starts to burn away. So I don't. It didn't seem like Azek went through anything like that at all.
Okay.
Um, but he definitely is more powerful than his current form is, and that he says like he got like a brief glimpse at his own memories. He's like, oh shit, the memories I can remember are from the times I tried to have a family and I had people who I loved, but like this curse and my immortality meant that eventually like I had to leave it all behind, and that caused so much pain. Every time it happened, I just like erased it. I erased myself and started over.
Oh,
And so there are other
wow.
lives that he had lived that he can't remember, because they certainly were, there were times when he was like, I don't want a family, I don't want to do that, and so they've just receded. But he has shown abilities that would put him way further down the sequences than his current self is. So I don't know if that, in order to do that, he would have had to go through something similar. I don't know, but it's crazy. It was not
And
where I
that's
thought that
one
episode was going to
character.
end. I thought it was like a Monster of the Week episode with them trying to get to the bottom of like why this like Doulahan spirit was like in people's dreams. It just went totally left, and I was like, well, shit, I'm here. We gonna see.
Yeah.
She is good though. I really like it's my I look forward to this probably the most. Like Lord of Mysteries every week is like sinking my teeth into some really good fiction. Just like
Mm-hmm.
it's just a meaty thing to get into, and there's a lot of detail that does matter. And I like the characters, and I like the also like the animation's great. We got a lot of really good like hand drawn animation and CGI and a lot of cool special effects. And there was a lot of like because they constantly deal with like illusion and like looking into the past and everything else. There's a lot of variety. It's not just all Victorian steampunk shit because in the past of this world it was like medieval, so totally different vibes, totally different character designs and armor stuff and whatever, like because he was fighting a lot of knights. It was good. It was a solid episode that just left me asking more questions.
Wow. All right.
That's I
Well,
think
always good.
that's about it. I'm trying to see is there anything else. Oh, Seventh Prince. Episode
Oh, is
seven.
it popping off?
Oh my, yes, it is. Like they I thought they would waste a little bit more time. They decided not to waste time. So if you haven't gotten up to that yet, then we'll leave it.
Yeah.
Uh
Okay. Yeah, that and dress up are my next projects. Since I did
okay.
Kaiju and DanDaDan, and those will be
No, I think
fun.
like Seventh Prince lends itself to like watching all the episodes at once.
Oh, okay.
It does. Like it'll be a breeze to get through because again, like I thought that episode 6 set up a conflict, and it was very much like the One Piece style of like this person's over here with this person's over here with this person's over here with that person. I just assumed based on the pacing that the next episode, the current episode, which is episode 7, that we would like spend like I would say 90% of our time with all these other people and not get to the main fight as quickly as it wound up happening. But then they just said, "Fuck it, we're gonna spend the last like I don't know 10 minutes of it on what you are here to see." So I'm like, all
Okay.
right, get down with that.
Oh wow. I mean, it never disappoints. So, well, it disappoints some people, but they don't matter. They're not watching anyway, so fuck them.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Um, uh, let's see. Oh, so I guess my recommendation. I would recommend Super Robot Wars that's coming out this week, but I haven't played it yet, so I'm not going to recommend that. But if you like Mecha, and if you ever like Anthem, for the failure that it still was the potential that was there. Demon Machina, um, Titanfall, or whatever the fuck it's called. So whatever the fuck whatever it's coming out next week for Switch 2. The Switch 2 demo dropped. Just go try that shit. Um just good. I never played the original one on Switch because I was just like, I don't think the Switch can handle this. Like I just don't think this is the right platform for this game. But now, yeah, it is great. The customization. I'm riding around double katana grenade launchers on my fucking back, like
Oh
dual
shit.
wielding that I can swap in for double maces, then pull out my fucking double guns and da 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 da. And then the systems are there because I thought like you just had like the basic stuff with the suits. But I just got to a point in the demo where like there's like genetic modification, and then that's where the skill system comes in for every single different type of weapon. So every single weapon has like different skills that you can do while you're executing the combo. So that extended the combos for all that kinds of. I highly recommend just check it out. Just play it. It's good, good shit, good shit, good shit, good shit. And Romancing Saga 2 truly is for the RPG niggas. Like, if you want to win, you're gonna have to not only put in the time, you're gonna have to put in the effort and learning the boss fights. Like, the the frequency of dying just to learn like what it is, like what is this phase gonna do, what's that phase gonna do, and then like you have to go back to your save, because if you don't go back to your save and your emperor dies, then you got to make a new retinue, you got to show up with a new emperor, you got to do all this
Oh
brand new
god
stuff,
damn.
and the final dungeon is fucking insane. It is insane. It is so big, and every fucking monster in there is so strong. I was like, you niggas really said we're giving you the RP, we're giving you hard mode, like, and it's gonna be fucking hard. So if you want an RPG that's gonna like make you work for that shit, Romancing Saga 2 remake, like absolutely. I've also bought Donkey Kong, but I haven't gotten that far into it. But
I listen, that's a game of the year contender right there.
I got obsessed with just like breaking shit in like the first area. I just was just going around breaking everything that I could, and I was like, I should probably keep going.
You should probably play the game.
Should probably keep going. And then I got the power up, and I was like, oh my god, like
I watched like a playthrough of the first hour, and then I was like, I need to not watch this because I just if I play this game, I'm gonna put in like 40 hours into it.
yeah,
Like it's really good.
it's
Um,
really good. Yeah.
my recommendation, I don't know if I've recommended this before. Maybe I talked about it, but like it hadn't been running long enough for me to feel comfortable putting a recommendation on it. But
Mm-hmm.
Return of the Runebound Professor. It's both
I don't think you
a
mentioned
novel series, but it's also been turned into a webtoon. It's about 50
that. Oh,
chapters out. It is a really I complain a lot about what we talked about before, like isekai, where the concept of who the person was before they got sent to the other world matters, winds up not mattering to a story. This one is very much the opposite. So in Roombound Professor, a music teacher in on our world dies of a the usual like terminal disease situation. But he's not like someone who was like unrequited. He's just someone who really enjoyed teaching students and just wasn't up for him. But he gets after a series of events through his reincarnation in another world, which are actually very interesting and very cool and very relevant to the story. I will not give them away. He winds up in the body of a teacher who also taught and would love quote unquote love teaching, but was murdered at a magic academy. Now that's a very
oh,
usual common setup, but what is particularly uncommon is that the story is actually more of a murder mystery because Noah, who reincarnates as Vermeil, doesn't know anything about anything, and he literally has to teach the class the next day. And doesn't know what magic is, doesn't know who tried to kill him, doesn't know anything about the abilities that he got, except for one thing.
wow.
When he is killed, his body remains, but a new body pops back into existence.
Oh,
And
so
that's the
he
same.
continues to get killed.
Yes, yes. Sometimes by accident, sometimes, doing
Re:Zero
something he
style
shouldn't
on
be doing.
purpose.
Yep. And he's got a long ass list of enemies and some really interesting powers that as the story goes on become more and more related to his love of music. The way he
Mm,
interprets a lot of the magic in the world is through the lens of his former life and
yeah.
leaning into the actual teaching part. A lot. It's interesting. There's a lot of stories about transmigrated people at a school, off sometimes even their teachers, but they don't put a lot of like time into like what does it mean to be a teacher? What are good strategies
Yeah.
for teaching people things? Like oftentimes it's not really relevant to the story, but in this one again a lot of the time is spent on Vermeil trying to, or sorry, Noah as Vermeil trying to a survive with having no knowledge about the world and like bluffing and figuring out ways to like just get people not to think that something is wrong with him. Two, the power system is very interesting, and there was clearly some thought put into it. It's not your typical like system whatever. Like it is a full on fantasy magic system that is just based on runes and language, which is really cool. The characters are snappily written. And again, it comes from a book. It's an adaptation of a book. And so that I think makes a big difference. I think there's like 8 books in the series out so far. I'm not totally sure how many, if any, if they've even completed
So
like
they're
one
not
book's
winging
worth
it
of
as they
material.
go for the webtoon. They already know, like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also the it's a Western writer. So the structure of it,
Oh,
yeah, the structure of it is like a little more traditionally like Western, which makes to me a little easier to follow. And again, like it's dealing with some of the same tropes around like isekai stuff, but it's very much not living on them and doesn't rely on them in order to tell the story. It is a story, is a real story. And basically, the first 50 chapters so far are him contending with getting to the bottom of A, the mystery of how the body he's in actually died, B, like how his powers actually work and how they might be able to be used to either get him home or at the very least like prevent him from actually being like fully killed, if that is even possible. And then also sort of see like learning to actually lean into teaching again, because that was one thing from his old life that he actually appreciated, and in the world he's in, he's not respected as a teacher. And so,
oh,
yeah. So, like,
okay.
one of the things people notice first off is that he's coming to class actually trying. So it's good. So
Oh,
it's called the Return of the Runebound Professor. I have not read the books. They are highly rated in general, but I don't know if they're like what the audience for them is. I don't know if it's like a, you know, full on young adult fiction or whether it's like for older. I don't really know. So,
okay.
but the webtoon is pretty good. I like it, and the art's cool too.
Okay. All right. And that's all I have for this week, then.
Yep, that's it for me too.
All right. You can find us at Anime Savants on Blue Sky _ Savants on that evil, that X thingy, and on TikTok, Instagram, et cetera, social media. Where can I find you, James?
You can find me on Blue Sky at James R. Mars King. I'm also on X, so I don't respond to anything but the people who know me at Neural Handshake on X. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to hit us up, please make use of all of our social platforms and comment on the YouTube if you want some responses.
And Dave, we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Peace out.